to the north, east, and south. That'd be northeast and southeast.
I wish there was a way to make this easy.
Use the foot switch.
That's the easiest part.
You need to buy yourself a little monkey and train him every Saturday to come in there, turn everything on about a half hour or so before you even get in there to do it, and have him get everything tuned up, and then you will be set.
That's the problem. That's my job. I am the little monkey. Hello, everybody.
Hello, Dennis.
Hello.
Yippee-o-ki.
Things got incredibly difficult once they changed their streaming, but I think we're okay. The stream appears to be up. Hello there. The audio stream, I believe, is up, and most importantly, 27085, where there is incredible activity going on all over the place with short skip, some tropospheric ducting down into the Los Angeles area. We'll see what happens tonight. Not sure exactly what's going on. 6 meters is open for those of you that do that kind of thing, so it could be interesting tonight all the way around here on the Old Tube Radio Network, where we are in probably our 34th or 35th year on the air on Saturday evenings, listening for, talking about, and basically just discussing those tube radios from 1958 to 1978. If you've got one, we'd like to hear it. We hope you can bring it by tonight. Our digital listeners tuning in, listening in at oldtuberadio.net on their Universal Media Net web devices, we welcome you, and you are able to make comments on the page, which I will try and address, or maybe you have some items of interest concerning our radios that check in. I always appreciate that. And of course, right here at Channel 11 on the air, we'll start with the directed net roll call of the shortwave listeners, and radios will follow that in about 30 minutes.
Break OTR.
And I think I heard a break OTR. Someone's got some squeal there.
Big geomagnetic storm right now. It's hitting hard.
All right. Well, that would make sense. Why things are the way they are. Let me say hello to our stations listening or watching over in the video. Hopefully, this is the new stream. Trying that out and see how that works out. There are still audio difficulties that is not allowing me to patch in the other studio. So even though the Jingle Singers are here, they will probably not be heard just because of some items tonight. X4000 says there is possibly some aurora going on tonight. I don't know what part of the U.S. you would need to be in for that, but we'll get updates. Hello to Wayne, who is listening in from the UK. I'll say good morning to you, where it is very early there. Also, Corey is watching in. OBP, SWL2 is out there, and of course from Northeast Georgia, Butterbean. On the digital side tonight, we have stations listening in from Southern California, where we're actually hearing you over the air. If you're in Southern California, hello, Virginia, South Carolina, Washington, a couple of stations from Washington and Colorado. Hopefully, we'll be hearing from those areas tonight. We've got Iowa, British Columbia, Tennessee, Oregon, Dallas, Georgia, and a host of others. I will be chatting with you, I hope, tonight. But first, let's get to the SWL roll call. We're looking for 00.
00, checking in, Dennis.
And we've got you checked in to get started out here. I've got about 19 different screens on the computer that I have to attend to, but I want to make sure that we get the check-in, and we are good to go. Thanks, Phil. Also, SWL number 1 checking in. SWL number 2, OBP, is over on the video chat side. Oscar Bravo Papa. So we'd like to give a shout out to Kevin you can do so over there. He's got some information about what is going on the atmosphere tonight. SWL3. SWL4. Shortwave listener 5. I did see Ida Mama Rose today, earlier in the day. When I was over at Glen Agnes, she says, say hello to all the old tube radio operators and SWLs. SWL6. SWL7.
SWL7, checking in.
Checking in and sounding good on the old tube radio. I can tell that maybe that one will be on our list to get checked in tonight, which is a good thing. Thanks for listening. That takes us over to SWL 11 and 12. Jim and Lisa checked in via email. SWL 13. Mike often checks in at oldtuberadio.net. Looking at the list, I see a couple of you out there wanting to check in. There is Richard waving a hand from Everett, Washington. Juliet, Mike. We've got Sean in Spokane saying hello. We just never know if we're going to get conditions tonight. British Columbia 2, Albert 256, and Peter 428 from Squamish, British Columbia. A lot of Spokane, Washington tonight. We should be able to do some DX. I know you guys, if somebody makes it through, it's usually Spokane, really. If you go back and listen to the archives, probably Spokane is the area that works pretty well here into the Central Valley of California. Who else? Audio check is good. Let's continue with the roll call. We've got SWL 14. SWL 15. Now, Easton is big time skip. That's 10 miles away. That should ride in on the Aurora Borealis. SWL 16. And CB Radio News is monitoring. I was so busy trying to get the encoder working, I have not yet delved into the Facebook streaming link, which I'm assuming is probably some easy one-click thing once you find that one-click thing and where to go. So I will be working on that, getting the this video stream up on the Facebook site, and then I think Rich over at CB Radio News can link it up on his site as well. Thanks for all the info and heads up on that. Let's try SWL 17. SWL 18. Shortwave listener 19. SWL 20.
Number 20 here. Please check in number 29 and 54 and 8 something and his family. I kind of forgot. I think you know who I mean. Okay. Anyway, proxy all of us in for next week because I'll be working, I think. And then I'll try and be back later. Thank you, Dennis.
Okay, keep us tuned in at oldtuberadio.net. It could get interesting out there. We will look for you when the radios start glowing in the dark, and I think I got all the proper check-ins, hopefully at the proper time. Thanks, Harvey. We've got you checked in, SWL 20. Over to SWL 21, Mr. JT, who I believe is out there waving a hand. Let me go way back in the list. Yes, indeed. The ever popular world's longest ground rod. I think, JT, you are in the Guinness Book of World Records with that. It is now convenient to check you in, and I will do that by clicking this, and it'll say that you are indeed checked in. Be careful. I don't know what the Aurora Borealis will do to the incredibly ginormous, as SWL 47 would say, ground rod, but keep the clip leads handy, just in case you have to bail out. Thanks for checking in. SWL22, SWL23, SWL24, SWL25.
Hello, Dennis. 25 checking in.
25 checking in. Sorry, I missed the Wednesday night net. Things got busy. I don't know if you were out there, if you had conditions like this tonight or not.
Conditions, do you? No, actually, no. It was pretty much local, but I could hear some scatter out there, so it should be an interesting night. By the way, please proxy M74. Thank you, Dennis.
I will do that. Yeah, Captain Backscatter is definitely out there tonight. A reminder, I do not have the crossband radio up and running, so if anybody hears somebody on the crossband, I will appreciate any relays on that. And again, as we turn to page 2 on the roll call here, the Old Tube Radio Network, originating out of Central California, 27085 is our RF area. Also streaming live audio at oldtuberadio.net, where you will find a link to the video stream going on as well. The purpose of the Old Tube Radio Network, of course, is to talk about, and urge you out there, you radio collectors, to get on the air at least once a week with your kind of Nido-Kino, is that the proper word, tube radio. So hope to hear you tonight after the roll call. Page 2, and we were looking for SWL 27. We have a proxy check-in for SWL 29. I believe we have a check-in for SWL 31. Let me go back to the big board of boards here, and Hendersonville, Tennessee is definitely on the list. That's Robert and Teresa, and there they are. Lost audio and video on Foxfire, went to Microsoft Edge. No skip yet. I don't know. We might have had one of those little, if you look on the 6-meter opening charts, you see the openings move around. I think that's what happened to us here in 11 meters for a while. Channel 6 just opened up, and I was hearing the West Coast and the East Coast, and interesting. Could be some Aurora Borealis up into the northern states tonight, as we have interesting conditions. Hope you do have the audio now. Thanks, Robert, for checking in. Over to SWL 32. SWL 33, myself, Boso Control. Where's... Yeah, the honking proboscis, the jingle singers, due to technical difficulties. It is not their fault, but some technical difficulties on my end with the audio is keeping us from hearing the other studio properly. Perhaps we'll work on that. Perhaps there's a workaround. Maybe we'll just bring them in here behind me. There's room behind the desk here. I'll just have to sing a little bit louder. SWL 34. Shortwave listener 35, I do believe that I saw Mr. Bill checking in from Cheyenne, where the snows of winter aren't falling just yet, but maybe soon here as we get into the late on September months. Over to SWL 36.
What's your QTH?
SWL 37.
37 here, and I'm hearing scatter up there.
This is the backscatter frequency. Sounding good, Chris. We got you checked in here at the Old Tube Radio Network here in Central California, where we will be talking with and talking about those classic tube radios made from 1958 to 1978. We are streaming live audio at oldtuberadio.net, and also a link to the video stream. Thanks, Chris. SWL 38, SWL 39, shortwave listener 40. Larry was out there. I bet he is probably doing some DX or listening in on 6 meters. SWL 41, SWL 42, Some strange static coming in tonight. SWL 43. SWL 44. Keep an eye out for Ray checking in, listening in somewhere, no doubt. SWL 45.
Interesting night tonight, Dennis. 45.
All right, well, I hope you can hear me. I know earlier on we had lots of stations coming in from everywhere. You being up at a higher altitude, probably hearing a lot more than I can. You sound great now, so hopefully we'll get some radio check-ins.
Yeah, hope we can make it tonight. It was pretty strong and knocked you out all the way for a while, but you're back solid. Boy, guy.
Yeah, here the big strappers. This was not where you need 10,000 watts to punch a hole in the ozone. Hearing mobiles from Southern California. Thanks, Paul, for checking in. SWL 46. Shortwave listener 47. SWL 48. SWL 49.
Hey, hello, Dennis. 49er here. Am I making it through that solar storm?
Yeah, S9. Sounding good here in Midtown, over.
Okay, well, you're sounding fantastic over here towards Larry and Kings Canyon area, so southeast Fresno. So I'm wishing you guys all a good night. Hope you're staying cool and all that good stuff. Have a great one. Thanks for checking.
Yeah, staying cool. 84 in the Radio Shack. It feels like 83. And not that warm. I think the temps are going down tomorrow. I'm not sure. We had 100-something today, so we will see. You are sounding great. Nice audio. Good to hear you. And thanks for checking in. SWL 50.
And good evening, 50 here. And would you also proxy 650?
50 is in, and who was the proxy check-in for, over?
650.
650, will do, thank you. SWL 51.
SWL 51 checking in.
SWL 51. I bet the radio is cooling down from all that skip talking you've been doing. Sounding good, Dave. We got you checked in.
Careful, Dennis. Have a good evening.
SWL 52. Shortwave listener 53.
Hello, Dennis. 53 checking in.
Still sounding good, Bob. We've got you checked in here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Well, the Old Tube Radio Network, where we will be having the tube radios checking in after the roll call here in about 15 minutes. Live streaming at oldtuberadio.net, on the air live at 27085 in the Central Valley of California, and wherever the skip and atmospheric ducting may be dropping us off on various antennas. We'll be standing by with the radios coming up. Let's try. We've got the cosmic check-in for SWL 54. I think SW1 and 54 are sprinkling some of that magic dust, tickling through the E and F layers, getting onto the Starduster antenna. Let's try SWL 55.
55, checking in.
55, hello, M&M. You are doing a good job here into Midtown tonight. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you, Dennis.
The guy that got us started off, and maybe when he checks in again, Skip will start up. SWL 56.
56, just for kicks.
All right, it must be all those little turning gears and a little bit of the steampunk out your direction that is filtering into the air tonight, making things happen. Thanks, Phil. SWL 57. SWL 58.
58 was just here, but he had a ditch bank emergency.
The ditch bank was flooding over, so he had to go tend to that. So, yeah, go ahead and proxy in Jeremy.
Yeah, DBE, a ditch bank emergency. We'll get Jeremy checked in. And there is a tool for that. It's got a wooden handle and a little orange cup on the end of it when you have those overflows. I have a feeling, though, for the ditch bank, it may take 2 or 3 people to maneuver that one. Thanks for the check-in. Rob is saying that he's getting smatterings of OTR up on Channel 11 in the Colorado Mountains. Plenty of fading, but nice to hear some of the guys direct on 73. Thank you there, Rob. In Zero Land, listening in from Colorado. Let's try SWL 59. SWL 60. And the Bob and Steve Show. We might hear them live and direct tonight in Ohio. Steve's in Illinois. So they're doing some type of weird antenna configuration between the two states. More ice cream and cookies. It's a big party in the green room. We can't get the audio working tonight from the Jingle Singers, so they can keep eating. They don't have to stop and put down the ice cream to run over the ribbon microphone. Did I call SWL 60? SWL 61?
51, checking in, Doc.
SWL 61 through the skip and sounding good. We've got you in there, Dean. Thanks for listening. SWL 62?
Evening time, Jim. This is 62, checking in from downtown Columbus. I've got a real bad signal. My goofy ground plane must have crapped out. 51 mobile train.
All right, well, it's still working on the transmit side. Still about S8 or S9 on the Droopy Jors. I think what is happening is we have some very interesting conditions tonight, so you might be picking up the Old Tube Radio Network and about 50 other states here tonight. 62, Lucky Lindy, we've got you checked in over on frequency and on time. Over. Let's try SWL 63. I saw New York earlier was in at one of the first stations listening in, and still out there. I'm not sure how long the band is going to go tonight. It's very, very short. But I'm hearing people calling them mini grass. You just never know. So thanks to 63 and all the stations there on the East Coast. SWL 64. SWL 65.
Quickie break.
The quickie break, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis. SWL 60 checking in. I guess I must have been over on the wrong switch box. Did you have a copy on me a minute ago?
Well, I did not hear anything that sounded like you, but there are a lot of stations down in the noise from the skip conditions tonight, so I may have not been paying the proper attention. You sound great now, however.
Yeah, okay, well, doggone it. We're checking in our 29 Classic LTD, and a little update on the score there for Fresno State. We are down a couple of touchdowns.
Are we doing football already?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's a good thing. Probably where people are listening tonight. Where is the game? Where are they playing at tonight?
I'm not sure. I just put it on ESPN on my phone here, and I called it USC. But doggone it, they're down a couple of touchdowns.
All right, I think they're maybe playing at USC, somebody said. All right, well, good deal. Thanks for the score report. We will be listening for the updates for the Fresno State Bulldogs. And also, we've got you checked in. Sounding good.
Thank you much.
Directed net roll call. The Old Tube Radios will be coming up shortly. Let's try SWL 65. And you can hear the static and also some adjacent channel interference coming in from all the big strap stations making it through here tonight on the ducting and skip conditions. SWL 66. SWL 67. SWL 68. Shortwave listener 69. Yeah, Rob, Ron always he's got the DX station, the ditch bank. So there's something about that formation of the ditch banks. It's like a parabolic dish antenna, and it just beacons his signal all over the place. I may have to go mobile sometime and do an old tube radio network out of the ditch banks so I can actually be heard. Let's try SWL 70.
Break OTR.
The break OTR, go ahead, over.
65, checking in.
All right, sounding good. SWL 65. We've got to check in for 65, getting the X in the square, and thanks for listening into the Old Tube Radio Network. All right, Eric Marshmallow and the crew all checked in over at 55. Next is SWL 71. It's easy to find Stan when I scroll down on the computer because he's got the cool Mr. Announcer meme. Is that the right word? Little picture off to the side. And Stan is checking in. Mr. Announcer on the RCA 44 ribbon microphone. I was looking at a couple of those on eBay. The cheapest one that I found was $2,000. That doesn't seem right to me. That just doesn't seem right. I don't even know if they were refurbished or not. No wonder they wanted us to treat them with care at the Fresno State radio station. I may be able to grab one of those sometime. I'll set it up here and see if it works. Get a $2,000 microphone with my 20-cent voice. How about thanks, Stan. How about SWL 72? SWL 73? Shortwave listener 74. We've got a check-in for Ms. Julie. Given the 50,000-watt radio station a little rest tonight, probably a good thing with the conditions that blank out the entire United States if she keyed up. SWL 75. SWL 77.
Well, good evening to everybody, and it's cool. We have some DX coming in and 77 in the Tower District on the Tower of Power, waving a hand.
And sounded good doing it. Were you up on 38 lower? What was going on up there?
Boy, they're coming in from all directions.
Yeah, when I hear the ducting from LA, you know there is strange things, and I didn't think about checking 6 meters, but Kevin said it was hopping too. You are sounding good, nice audio as always, and we've got you checked in.
Thank you much.
SWL 79. Shortwave listener 80. And as we turn the page, final page, we've got the tube radios ready to check in here in about 7 minutes. If you are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network, 27085 in Central California. Channel 11 is our RF frequency. Also, audio streaming at oldtuberadio.net on your Universal Media Net web device of choice, where you can find the link to the Google YouTube streaming video if it's working, and I think that it is. SWL 81 at the top of page 4, who is waving a hand over on the video side, checking in and checking out. Yeah, it was one of those really nice days. So if you got up early and started doing a lot of things, and as the heat got to the 100-degree mark, probably right about now as it's cooling off and relaxing, you realize that is about all you can take. Thanks for staying up and waving a hand to us, Steve. Always appreciate that. Mr. Unicorn is checked in. Speaking of the ditch banks, let's try SWL 82. And Ron was in there earlier. I'll get him checked in. I should get him a big check-in because not only did he make it here into central Fresno, Rob was waving a hand also as he made it into Colorado. So 82 is checked in. We've got a proxy check-in for SWL 84. SWL 85.
2 checking in. Too much skip coming in, so couldn't hear you. Anyway, 82 checking in from the Ditch Banks of Iowa.
All right, yeah, we hear you fine. You are just shooting over the top of everybody local here, and they're waving a hand to you in Colorado where you sound great. Thanks, Ron.
All right, thanks, Dennis. I had to fire up a couple more tubes to make it really glow.
Yeah, it's glowing good. Sounding good here in Midtown. SWL 85. We've got 86, 87, and 88 with proxy check-ins for the Mountain Mage, Handy Girl, and Snowy Owl. SWL 89. SWL 90. SWL 92. They're checking in from all over here in the Old Tube Radio Network. SWL 93. Steve, feeling better is a good thing. So I hear you. When you're actually wanting to get out of bed, that's a good thing. And getting into the radio room and doing stuff. So keep on doing stuff. That's the way to. But don't overdo it. That's the thing. In moderation. Did I call SWL 93? I'm sure I did. He's probably sandbagging in that skip zone. SWL 98.
Checking in, Dennis.
SWL 98. Mr. 544. Hello, Dave. Dave's a seasoned skip shooter. He doesn't even have to try. He's got one of those stations like Ron, where it just beacons all over the place. We've got you checked in.
Thank you, Dennis.
From the mobile, SWL 103. Jeff, GCE has put in a nice setup in his mobile. I bet he could get some of the skip talkers tonight. SWL 109. Shortwave listener 110. And hello to Timtron. Tim up in Washington State. Tim, check 6 meters if you haven't already. It's been open. We've been hearing here on 11 meters the short skip ducting from LA. It's been open for a while. Pretty much open all over. You might already know that. Tim has got a very elaborate Radio Shack, and he's squeezed himself into the 11-meter corner. Just to wave a hand to us, appreciate that. But he can go just about any frequency he wants. So thanks, Tim, and see if we can't make some noise up there in Washington State tonight. Let's try. It's hard to get to the locals tonight, like this guy, SWL 111.
Well, I'm cheating a little bit, so I'm in Fresno on a mobile, and 6 meters is indeed open. I just had a real good conversation with a guy in Riverside, running a KW on a flat side beam, and my 100-watt radio on a Tar Heel, giving him 20 over.
Not bad. Six is a fun band when it opens like that. You get those really drop in at 20 or 30 over signals, and you may have 5 minutes to make the conversation, and then it is gone to somewhere else. So good deal. And speaking of someone who is radioactive all over the place, like Tim in Washington, Robert out of Reedley, who is visiting us here in the Central Valley, in Central Fresno, somewhere tonight. He sounded good. You're about 20 over. Also has a great Radio Shack full of radios. And as you can tell, he's out in the mobile and he's working 6 meters. So good deal. Having fun. Thanks.
No problem. I got 6 through 80 meter in the truck. And 160 is available to me. But you know what? Those whips are so stinking tall. I don't need to beat the trees up. It's just really good to be in Fresno and hear everybody's voice for a change. I don't get to hear you anymore right down in Reedley. Just too damn much noise. Y'all take care. 73s.
All right, yeah, 160 can be tricky on a mobile antenna. You've got probably not much bandwidth. You can dial the thing in, but you got to make sure someone is on your frequency. Did you say you were using the Tar Heel antenna?
Yes, sir. I got a Tar Heel 2 on my truck, and there's no challenge to it. It zeroes in exactly on the frequency, and it's no problem. I got the full band of 160.
Here for Brown Oakland Zigzag.
Yeah, they always get good reviews. And a good choice for mobile radio if you can get it set up right, and it sounds like yours is. All right, Robert, I want to take a little time and chat with you since I'm hearing you great. Let you get back to the radio, see what happens. I guess there's going to have conditions all night, maybe. Look out the window for that aurora. You may have to drive another 600 or 700 miles or so at least to see it, but sounding good. Thanks for chatting with us.
Yes, sir. Auroras were plainly visible in Minnesota last night, and they will be again tonight. Take care. Godspeed. 111, clear.
The O2 Radio Network, Real Radio's Glowing in the Dark, coming up after the roll call. Let's skip up to, who's next? SWL 114.
114, checking in.
SWL 114. Hello, Wayne. You are checked in for, did I even say, this is the 31st day of August 2019. Sounding good.
Thank you for the check-in.
SWL 128.
Contact.
And the contact, I'll be right with you. I thought I saw 128 on my list. I scrolled down, and sometimes it goes into check-ins from last week. Boy, we've had a lot of activity. There he is, 2 hours ago. 1 hour ago, no? There it is, 1 hour ago. We're checking in, getting closer to California. Made a contact in Cheyenne, Wyoming on 40 meters earlier this evening. We have one of our famous SWLs 35, Mr. Bill, with Red Monkey out there in Cheyenne, Wyoming. He's also radioactive on the ham bands. So I wonder if that was Mr. Bill there on 40. Wait, that was on 40, huh? Earlier in the evening. Yeah, okay. Because I want to say 40 usually doesn't go that long until the evening. Good stuff. Sounds like you've got a great 40-meter antenna. John Lee, SWL 128, having fun on the ham bands, and we've got pretty much zero sunspots. So we might have one of those really, really nice sunspot cycles coming up this year. So if you don't have your extra ticket, your ham license, think about getting one. Let me continue with the direct net roll call so we can get to the radios. First, let's go to the contact, SWL 70. Hello, radio.
Hello, radio. Hello, Dennis and the group, and hello, Bill. 70 checking in, please.
70 checking in and checked in when I click on the button there. All right, sounding good. As you probably can tell from your location, band is wide open tonight. Thanks for checking in.
Thanks, Dennis.
That will take us to SWL 131.
131 here, checking in.
There he is. I'm going to the X down for Mr. Rude. Hi, John. Looking good, sounding good here on the Old Tube Radio Network tonight.
Thank you, you too.
And let's go to SWL 133.
Good evening, Dennis. 133 checking in.
And if you're on the 20-meter antenna, you're probably sending out some good vibes with our conditions here tonight on 11 meters. Got you checked in.
Thank you, sir.
SWL 135. I think I'm supposed to proxy in 135, which I will do. SWL 137. And Tony, SWL 145, who is waving a hand all over the place. Did I see him on the video side? I saw him on the digital side and over on Facebook. So Tony, we've got you checked in. You are doing it right. Maybe I'll get you checked in 3 or 4 times with all the activity. Let's go to SWL 147.
Break OTR.
And as I look for 147, the break OTR, go ahead.
Yes, 145, Tony asked me to proxy him in, so I'm going to do it.
All right, if he's listening, he can hear you doing that. He got in on a couple other venues, so they'll just add, let's see, the 5th or 6th X for 145, Tony, tonight. We got him checked in. Thanks.
Thank you. He got checked in many times.
All over the place. Right now, I'm scrolling up and down looking for Kakalaki. I thought I saw Okay, maybe not. I'll keep an eye open. Neil, if you've checked and I'm just missing it on the scroll through here, but I will find it. If not, usually okay, I was going to say, usually you time it so I don't have to look. See, I'm making it too difficult. He is the first post right in front of my face here. Apologizing for last week. No problem. I know you're a busy guy, but you're making it in tonight, and maybe you are doing some DXs. We are having on the West Coast some interesting conditions here tonight. Got you checked in. Let's go up to Course Gold if I can make it through the skip. SWL 195.
195, checking in, Dennis. Sound good up here.
All right, thanks for the signal report, and likewise down here in the valley tonight. Sounding good. That will take us to SWL 226. I love it when my controls don't work here. Let's try 226 is not around. Anybody else would like to check in? If you're listening in the skip zone, this is the Old Tube Radio Network in Central California, streaming at oldtuberadio.net, listening for a check-in. As we dump out of the gray line here, losing some of our conditions, probably the easy conditions. Didn't check the 10-meter beacons, not sure. I'll be right back. We're going to set up for the tube radio check-ins. The video stream will stay up. The audio stream will reset. And we will have at it. See what we can do tonight for check-in in the radios, which is why we are here. Why this venue, the Old Tube Radio Network, was put on the air in the first place, just to provide a nice forum on Saturday evenings for those who wish to chat on their tube radios to do so. Back in a moment with your radio check-ins. All right, and back in the control room here. Again, I will apologize to our jingle singers who are ready and waiting to do what they do best, Mr. Announcer, the orchestra. But there are audio technical difficulties with the new streaming encoder setup here that is not allowing the secondary studio audio to come in uninterrupted. It's in some type of feedback loop, and there's probably about 15 or 16 different controls that I have to go through and check and figure out why it is doing that. So they are having a good time. Regardless, they are listening in. There's a big monitor speaker. They'll be able to hear your check-ins, and they're listening in from the other studio tonight, having a great time with all the party favors and good stuff that Bob and Steve send over. I will try and keep an eye over at oldtuberadio.net for any comments. Also on the video side, Corey is in there, Tim's in there, KB8SMU. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to 8 land. They're hearing us in 0 land, maybe in 7 land, maybe in 6 land. The Old Tube Radio Network is grabbing the tube radio sheet and listening for radio number 1.
45.
And looks like we have radio number 1. Hello, 45.
Slow on this radio, I'll tell you about it. But anyway, I'd like to check in my Browning R2700 receiver.
All right, from Browning Laboratories, the receiver is the R2700. I think I can get an R2700. If I can, I'll bring that photo up, and then we'll find out, hopefully, where the transmitter part of that might be. Give us a transmission, and let me see what you're doing for the transmitter. Over.
Okay. Gotta key it with the right hand. You gotta twist the knob with the right hand. And well, the knob's actually a switch. Then you gotta operate your hand mic. I got a switch on it too. You gotta do everything at the same time. So if you lose me once in a while, I'll just push the wrong button. But anyway, this is an old one. This is 1959 manufactured. I think this is one of the first ones that Brownies put out as far as the radios. This thing is a real nice little radio. It doesn't have the eagle on the thing, so it shows you it's old. It's got a running there's a manual microphone switch on the thing, like I said. And I'm running an Electro Voice banana microphone. Actually, it's got the Heil cartridge in the thing. So I don't know how it sounds. I hope it sounded good. Back to you.
Sounding good. What is the transmitter that you're using with the receiver tonight?
Okay, I never got down to the transmitter. I'm using a Browning 23S9 transmitter. It's got 5 tubes in the thing, crystal controls, and it's a real neat little thing. It's got a lot of switches around the switch on the thing. It's got a big on-the-air light on the right-hand side. It's got a good-sized Browning meter on the left-hand side, jumping all over the place now. So it must be on working. Back to you.
All right. What was the transmitter you were using? Say that again. Over.
Okay. There's a Browning 23-S9.
All right, I'm going to get a shot of the 23S9. And I think we might have a photo of your 23S9. Let's see which one shows up here. Yeah, there it is. It says courtesy of Paul, SWL45. It's got, what do they call that? The chicken head control, a channel selector knob.
Yeah, that's it. That's the switch on the bottom right-hand side. You got to flip for the microphone. Back to you.
Got the on-the-air light, which, okay, here's a question. When you key the radio, does the light stay on all the time, or does the light blink with your modulation?
Just when I modulate it, turn it on, and then it gets brighter or dimmer.
All right, the Browning 23S9 from the early 60s, I believe, on the transmitter. Receiver probably goes back to their, like you said, 1959. The 23S9 transmitters were built with 2 different styles of channel selectors. The one you're seeing is the actual transmitter that Paul is using. It's got nice audio. It's not overdone. I don't hear... You've got the receiver set up so it doesn't get too much of a ping, but it sounds good. Over.
Yeah, okay. I don't think there's a big feature. Once in a while there's ping on the thing. That's not too often. I don't know whether you can hear it on your end or not. But no, I like this microphone. I have this microphone sitting here with the R2700 and the 23S9 name on to use it only on this radio. So, and I'm backed off just about arm's length on the thing too. Seems to be a little better if you back off. I can watch the meter. It's jumping pretty good. Back to you.
Sounds good. A good way to get us started off with the old Tube Radio Network on a Browning. Not the Eagle, not the Golden Eagle, but let's go way, way back to the early 60s with the R2700 receiver, the 23S9 transmitter, and a little piece of history as the Browning Laboratories name became ingrained with a radio that a lot of people wanted to have or aspired to, but probably didn't. Although a lot of them sold out there, and they're still around. Built like a tank, but sounding good. Give us another transmission, Paul. Thanks for getting us started with radio number 1. Over.
Yeah, okay. This whole radio, I'm glad I got it on a night like this. I got a high-pitched noise. I don't know whether you get that down there or not, but it's constant. And I put the noise limiter on this thing, and it knocks it down about 75%. So he had it fixed up pretty good on the first radio even. Yeah, thanks, Dennis, for checking in.
Thanks for bringing it by. Yeah, they have really decent noise limiters. I wish I had one here. I've got my noise blanker in, and it's still, there is some weird pulse noise coming through. I'm going to have to do some RFing, DFing, whatever it is here around the shack and see that it's not something being generated close by. They just put in the LED street lights, and I'm surrounded by 4 of them here on this property, and I've done extensive testing. I don't think that's the issue, because I had this before they came in, and I've been listening a couple of evenings as the lights turn on, and I really don't hear much of any extra QRM going on with that, but there is some type of a pulse noise that my noise blanker tries to do but doesn't do well. Thanks for bringing by the Browning. It's sounding good, and the Old Tube Radio Network is listening for radio number 4. I'm sorry, radio number 2.
Number 7.
And there's number 7 with perhaps radio number 2. Over.
Well, I kind of figured might as well keep the Browning theme going with the Browning Mark III SSB. Almost 3-foot of radio across the table. Oh, and along with the Golden Eagle D104 microphonium.
Golden Eagle D104. I think I do have a picture of them. Let me switch over. My screens aren't quite the way I want them, but I think this one will work as we go to that. And then if I get a chance, I will try and pan over and show. There it is. That is I believe the golden, because it's as gold as, it's even golder than the radio.
That it is, and this one was in really good condition. In fact, I always use something, I don't touch it with my hand. Don't want to get the gold messed up. So it's just about pristine, and so yeah, I got real lucky with that.
Do you have a special glove? The Saturday night OTR glove that you use for the radio?
That's funny. A white glove. Yes, I do.
I'm trying to think. When I started out, I didn't have a glove. I had like a little tissue thing that I wouldn't touch the knobs with, but then it ended up scraping all the paint off my Radio Shack, my early Radio Shack Navajo, because of the knobs look great. I think the paint is probably a little bit better on a Browning than it is on some Radio Shack item.
Yeah, I'm lucky with the radio, too. It's just about pristine. There's no marks on it. But, yeah, I got real lucky with the microphone and want to keep it that way. So, yeah, the gold definitely tarnishes and messes up quite quickly with just the oils in your hand.
37.
Well, keep it looking pristine. You've got a great piece of a collection there with the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. The audio is perfect, Browning Laboratory style, and Radio 2 sounding good, logging it in at 8:54. Breaker acknowledged. We'll be over to you, Chris, next for Radio 3. But before you go, on the Browning Laboratories that according to my items here, showed up on the market around 1972 after the Browning Mark II, and you might have been able to pick one up for about $650 back then, but the prices just kept going up. Give us another transmission, and thanks for bringing it by, Ed.
Oh, my pleasure. With that, we'll try to get another one warmed up and ready to go.
All right, sounding good. Just let people know they're listening to the Old Tube Radio Network. Real radio is glowing in the dark, and we have a breaking station. I believe it is Chris.
Yes, it is. I want to check in my radio now.
I can help you with that at 8:59 Pacific Daylight Time. So go ahead with your item of interest, sir.
Okay, I want to check in my golden radio, General Radio Super MC11A. It is gold in the front, but we're running this here with a non-amplified stock microphone.
Let me pop it up in the box up here, and indeed it does. It has the gold front, the green dial. Looks and sounds good. Let's go to the full screen, and even the old man in the wheelchair.
That's right, but it's Ivy.
You have had that radio. You had that radio a long time, and it's been a player all the time. No problems at all.
Well, I did have one a long time ago, and Harvey took care of that. He took it home, and he told it off real good. If you ever do this again, we're going to do something about it.
He said, be careful, right? There aren't many of those around. There really aren't. Although here in Central California, I think we could probably get 3 or 4 checking in on an evening, but listening to some of the guys in the Midwest and the East Coast, because these were built in California and Burbank, they're a little bit harder to find if you're not in California, so hang on to that one.
Well, yeah, unless the East Coast won't pay a lot.
Well, my notes say that about a year and a half ago, one sold on eBay for a little less than $300 in working conditions. So that's $10 a watt, not bad.
Oh yeah, well I think Jerry was telling me one time he seen one go on there. It was right after I got this, and he was telling me there was one out there went for a little bit over 300. I think something like 325 or something like that. He was telling me about it, and I said, boy, that's a pretty nice amount for a radio that old.
Yeah, maybe I should say that again. $100 a watt. Still sounds good. Doesn't sound old, and in fact, it makes you not sound old.
Oh, believe me, I'm old. Here next month, I'll be 71. And actually, next month is Kevin's birthday. I don't remember how old that guy is, but he's getting up there too.
He is at least 39.
Jack Benny, all the way.
All right, he was over on the video side earlier, but he may not fess up to any age-related posts. Radio number 3, the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A, using its infamous ECA LL800 tube with the 12AX7A for some great audio. Give us another transmission, and thanks for bringing it by.
You betcha. Well, I'll tell you what, it's definitely nice and warm. I can smell it. You can smell the tubes when they get warm. Actually, I could put a cup of hot chocolate up there. It'd be cold chocolate, but before the net would be over, it'd be quite warm.
I don't think there was a cookbook about cooking with your old tube radio. Probably it would involve a lot of aluminum foil. Wrap stuff in aluminum foil and have maybe in the 2 hours that we do OTR, if you let it simmer there on top. Some radios do run pretty hot. You let it simmer on top there, you might have a nice steak dinner to eat at around 10:15 tonight.
Well, I put my hand on it right now. I don't think I'd leave it on there for more than 15, 20 seconds, for it gets hot.
Yeah. Okay, and I stand corrected. Kevin is up and waving the hand, and certainly not embarrassed at all to say that he's at or coming up on 66. Which is, I should show the Route 66 sign for Mr. OBP.
All right, well, Kevin, you hear me? Well, yeah, you can hear me. I want to wish you a very happy birthday coming up, and wish you the best, guy.
All right, we are standing by, listening for radio number 4. I will say that this is the Old Tube Radio Network. 27085 is where we are at, Channel 11 in Central California. The band is gone now. It might come back. Rob was listening in and said he made a few recordings, first openings on either 10 and 11 and 6 meters in weeks. Fun stuff. We'll see what happens. In the meantime, here at oldtuberadio.net, 27085, we are listening for radio number 4 tonight?
Number 7.
45. 37.
And we've got 7, 45, and 37. As I write down, I found my channel 30. This is. Let's see if this works. Let's see who we should have. 7, step up into the air chair, and Paul, you will be next. Let me see. There's the official channel 30 notepad. That's even before the days of HD, and I wrote everybody's. That's how I take notes here. I wrote everybody's SWL numbers down. Just a reminder that you don't have to have an SWL number to do any type of a radio check. And if you find yourself in front of that elusive tube radio, make sure you check it out and bring it here on Saturday nights. Even if you've never fired anything up before, we would like to talk to you. Speaking of talking, let's talk to. I put down the wrong stuff here. SWL7, tell us what radio you have over.
That would be the R68T68 Golden Eagle from Browning Laboratories.
Well, I heard the ping, and I was thinking he already checked in an Eagle, but he's got more Eagles. The R68T68 Series 2. If I can get that to work. There we go. It's showing up. Let me. Oh, it puts the full page ad up there. That's kind of nice. This one is showing the banana microphone and stand, the receiver, the transmitter, and the external speaker. I think you probably have most of those in your collection there, over.
Well, I do have the microphone attached to the radio there, the banana mic, but I do not have the external speaker in the price that I've seen on those. I'm not sure I will have one.
Yeah, at least not to eBay prices, it sounds like.
Yeah, there's like eBay, they want like $500 or more.
All right. Not much fun. Not much fun at all. Let me try something here. Go to the full screen. Can we read that? It's just a little bit. The new Golden Eagle represents the ultimate in citizen band stations. After the introduction of the original Eagle in 1964, which was the first complete base station with all accessories built in, one manufacturer after another started to incorporate some of its features. Now with the Golden Eagle, we again give them something to shoot at. We don't mind. After all, it has been said, imitation is the most sincere form of flattery. We don't use any adjectives. The results will prove that Browning tries just a little bit harder to build a little better. Try one. Whatever. I can't see that word. External speakers sold separately. Give us another transmission. Sounding good.
Well, thank you much. Well, this radio is doing what it does, thanks to Harvey. Man, he's probably saved quite a few of the radios out here. So thanks to him, we can keep broadcasting these little critters and keep old tube radio going. And with that, I'll get out of here and let a couple more people go and warm up another one.
Good deal. We really like to keep the old tube radios going, and our radio operators, collectors do just that here on Saturday evenings, as you're hearing. Maybe this is the way it sounded, and I'm sure this is the way it sounded 40 years ago on the air. People keying up, having a great time on Saturday evenings. Thanks, Ed, for radio number 4. And then, according to my list, we should head up to the big town of North Fork for SWL 45. Hello, Paul.
Yeah, Larry. We're sure different. I'll tell you, that skip's about dropped out all the way. You like this radio here. It's my Regency Imperial SSB-DSB AM-CB radio.
I do like that radio, the Regency Imperial, and if I recall, we don't have the best picture for the Imperial. I've got a really nice picture of the Imperial too. It says no image available. Well, Here we go. Oh, this is not bad. Let me see if I can get this copied in and put it on, and then we'll go over to you for a transmission. I will say that the first radio that I used for the old tube radio network was the Regency Imperial double sideband AM. Over to you for transmission.
Yeah, they're a classy radio. So many things I want to talk about. It's got the file right on the front. You can tune it right on the front. You don't have to go in the back or go inside it. You can do it with a knob. I'm sure the FCC probably had them take that thing off there. I don't know. It looks too good. But yeah, this is manufactured in 1967. And sold for $299, $300. That's quite a bit. Mine was an early Imperial. I don't know if you had the later one or the earlier one. Anyway, mine has 13 tubes, 23 channels, and of course AM, LSB, and USB on the thing. The meter has 3 functions. It's a real neat meter. It's a big meter. You see what they look like. They got the SFG on the side. You can adjust it accordingly. So it's just a quality radio. In fact, it looks good too. Anyway, the back cover is like expanded metal, so there is plenty of room for it to breathe, which I love to see. Yeah, you got a picture of it. You can see what it looks like there. Very nice looking. You can't see the cover, but it's expanded metal. Breathing all the way around is breathing, so that's good. Back to you.
Yeah, you can look down and see the tubes. And when I had mine, there was, I think, 6AQ5. You'd look down there, you could see a little bit of blue flashing. When I put a preamplified microphone on that thing, you could the radio would just kind of vibrate with the audio. It doesn't really need too much amplification on the audio, but it will scream with its suppressed carrier. This is a nice close-up shot. This is actually a better picture than I thought. It's showing the crown. You can't really see the top of the radio, but it had the golden front around the edge. At one time, you could buy all the parts, the escutcheons and the knobs. Somewhere, I think I have, from 1972, some information that someone had given me. They said, you should refurb your radio when I first got it, and there was a way to buy all the knobs and everything. The meter, the SVC, the S-meter, voltage, and current. You can, and it's a great receiver as well. And let's see. Oh, I know what I was going to ask you. If the lights are not burned out, when you key the transmitter, when you key the microphone, there is a red light bulb, I think, somewhere near the meter, so you get a red glow in your S-meter.
Yeah. Mine does have a red glow on the thing, so it's on there. On the microphone, you're talking about that. I've got a regular Regency Imperial blue microphone thing. It's manufactured by Turner. It looks like the M+2U mic, but it's not amplified. It's stock mic. It looks real pretty. I like the microphone thing. It's got a big, like I say, a big write-up on the thing about what it's for, what radio is on. Regency Imperial. It's good. That's just back to you. I'm about running out of things to talk about it. Oh, no. I left out one more thing. You know, you turn this thing on, and that's a smart move on these old radios. It's a regular big old toggle switch on the front. You can't wear them out. They won't. They'll last forever. They're a good idea. Back to you.
Yeah, I agree. That's the one thing that Browning never did. On the Mark III, I think you still rotate a volume control. You rotate a knob to turn the thing on. And you hope that it comes on. This one, you've got the knob right in the front. ON, click it, and the thing thumps, and then you've got your volume control and everything else. I adjusted the picture so you can see the Regency. This one's showing the Regency microphone, and indeed does look like the +2 from Turner, but not the same color. This is the Imperial. The Imperial 2 came out and had, I think, a second noise blanker and an ANL. Great receiver. Also very, very tight receiver. If you move that RVFO, because it was set up for sideband as well on the receive, you can sometimes on AM move your station right out of the passband. I remember doing that. I went from a realistic Navajo to that radio, and boy, let me tell you, there was just no There was just no comparison. We've got Paul on the Regency Imperial double sideband AM. This came out about the same time as the Tram Titan II, I believe, 1966 or 67. Sideband, pretty new. Double sideband, a good idea, but didn't catch favor, especially with the stations being on 16 or lower 16. And people started putting in VFOs, so you ended up taking 6 kilohertz of bandwidth, the same space as AM, because you're basically just dropping out the carrier. So when the stations started moving off frequency from lower 16 and moving up to expand how many people could run on that 10 kilohertz, 20 kilohertz segment, when you came on with your Regency Imperial double sideband, you were taking up extra space. So a lot of people really didn't like to hear those back in the days of channel 16 sideband, but they work well on sideband. They work great on AM. Thanks for bringing it by, Paul.
Paul, you didn't mention that this thing has a VFO on receive, which really works good too. Like a VFO on receive right on the front. You got your fire right on the front, the squelch right there. I mean, they put everything on this thing. It's unbelievable. Nice radio. Thanks for checking it in, Dennis.
And it's not too hard to adjust it. Mine had I had a tweaker control, a little screwdriver, non-ferrous screwdriver that I would, and you could stick it through the top of the cabinet, and you could adjust the RVFO so that if you were 12 o'clock, that would be where the everything would be centered. And then you'd go to the 10 o'clock position one way for your lower sideband, and the 10 o'clock position the other way for the upper sideband. Then you'd be tuned in, and it was easy to do. Love that radio. Hope to get mine working. I had problems with the crystals not firing up. It's a synthesized block, so when you lose one of the crystals, you lose channel 4 and 8 and 11 and 13 and 19 all at the same time. So eventually they all started going bad, but I've got a Regency Range Gains parts radio that I may try swapping the crystals out. The other easy way to go would be put I think it's the PAL VFO into that, and I'd be back in business. Maybe I could run that for, just like I used to do for the OTR net control. All right, let me continue here, talking too much, but Chris is ready to go. SWL 37, are you out there?
Absolutely, most definitely. All right, Dennis, I'm going to check in another radio here. I'm going to check in the pretty blue one. I'm going to check in my G PowerMate, the Jim Marine Products. This here is the 23 channel tube that glows in the dark. And we are also running this here with an amplified D104 Lollipop. Over.
Nice audio. Were you doing any of the skip talking this afternoon up on 38 lower, or did you miss that?
No, I caught some this evening.
Okay, I just was busy, so I didn't go up and find out what was happening. I just started hearing channel 6. I was getting bleed over, and I went to channel 6, and it was 20 and 30 over, and I was hearing stations from LA and all over the place, so wasn't sure. We've got the Jim Marine PowerMate photo right over there with, that's your radio. It's, talk on it. We'll look at the picture.
Oh, yeah, this is my radio. And as you was talking about on the deal, now I did catch Las Vegas, Nevada. I got them in there. Of course, Oregon, they was in there. Thought I heard Washington. I couldn't swear to it, though. But I was catching a few other states. Mexico was in there. And I heard something down south. I couldn't keep over any clear enough to make out what it was. But, yeah, it was just popping all over the place. Just before OTR, I heard it. And talked it.
And we got some atmospheric conditions in the good, just at the gray line. I think it might come back. I don't know. Got stations hearing us in Colorado. You are radio number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with the G PowerMate. That is the clone, or the Panasonic clone, that so many other radios shared. The T-Berry Model T, one of the ones, and the Robin T123B, I believe, as well. Always sounds good. The rumors have it that you're plate modulated with that.
Oh, yeah, and don't forget the Chris 23 also.
I don't think I'll be able to forget that, and you will probably help me by not forgetting.
Yeah, but you don't actually put them up side by side. They look almost identical. Like I said, the knob for the channel is in the same spot. The S meter's in the same spot. The on, volume, and broadband thing is in the same spot. The PACB switch is in the same spot. Now, the modulating light is in a different spot. It's between the speaker and the frequency channel knob. For on this one here, it's between the S meter and the channel selector.
And that's where you notice on the outside, the front faceplate is where they changed things around. Some got more light, some got less. Like you said, some got PAs and CBs, and some did not. But on the inside, pretty much all the same around, which is a good thing because they're just good talking radios and last pretty good. Gem Marine Products Jeep Powermate, the old tube radio network, real radios glowing in the dark, reliving the sounds of CB back in the 1960s and 1970s when these were brand new radios. Take another transmission. Thanks for bringing it by.
All right. Oh, and also, the mic plug is right where if you look at the G Powermate on the G, that is where the mic plug is on the G Powermate. Now, on the Chris 23, on the G Powermate, it's all the way to the right, and all the way to the right where that plug is at is where I got my headphone plugs for this one here on the Chris. On this, the headphone plugs is in the back.
Pretty tricky. I guess that was easy to move those around, and you just produce the face plate you wanted, as long as you know where the mic plug is and how to turn the thing on. Sounding good. Thanks for bringing it by.
Okay, and it's got all the same grooves and everything. Top, bottom, and sides and front. Speakers in the same area. It all works. I just thank you. I'm out.
Number 7.
All right, and this would be a good time for the Jingle Singers, who are here tonight. But again, we had some technical difficulty. Are we having technical difficulties with getting the audio in this new streaming situation? In fact, we just have too much audio. So we will work on that. But in the meantime, we are looking for Radio 7, and I think we have one on the line. Hello, Mr. Ed.
This time from E.F. Johnson, the messenger, 223.
We've got a Radio 7 from SWL7 from Edgar F. Johnson and Company. Messenger 223. Also a very big selling radio, mainly because it was good, and they cloned it out to a few other forms. I don't have a picture that will do justice to what Ed is running. His has been modified a little bit, but I'll go ahead and bring up the one that I do have, and I'm going to put up without yours does not have the modulation light?
No, it does not have the modulation light.
Okay, so we'll run the one without the modulation light, but you make up for it because you have the LEDs or it's blue. I don't know if they're LEDs or not, but it's got plenty of lights.
Yes, someone switched out the regular lights that were in there to blue LEDs. Then they show up quite nicely. They should last for a while at least, so that's kind of nice. And of course, the 3 little knobs they have on there, the inserts have been changed over to buffalo nickel, so that makes it a little bit different. And the microphone is a Silver Eagle D104.
Good choice. Sounds good. 23 channels, the S meter. This is a nice, clean-looking radio. If you want no nonsense and to get on the air but have all the accessories that you pretty much need. And there's other things and lights and amplifiers and the mic gain, but if you have the proper microphone, you really don't need all that. The Johnson Messenger 223 is a Messenger 2 with 23 channels, hence the name 223. First made its appearance in 1969. For around $200, you could buy them with the desk mic that said Johnson on it. That's pretty much how they were sold. I don't see that this goes mobile. I don't think there's any extra cable switches in the back that would allow you to run it mobile. Mainly because Johnson at the time had the 323 and the 123 and the Messenger 2 and the Whiteface that all would go mobile. So this was definitely their base radio that worked well for them through 1972. Back to you for transmission.
Yeah, nice simple radio, and I couldn't resist the $35 price without the microphone. So I figured, what the heck? Bought it, put a microphone on it, and sure enough, it works.
It works great here on the Old Tube Radio Network. The 223 from E.F. Johnson. One of the radios I would have liked to have had back in the day. And then I got my hands on the Regency Imperial. And that satisfied me with the sideband that I didn't use that much, but this would have been a good choice as well. Radio 7. We'll go back to you for transmission, and thanks for bringing it by. Over.
Oh, and thank you for having a place to bring it by. And with that, we'll sit back and take a listen for a while.
As will I. The band, the channel, as you can hear, has gotten nice and quiet. The static has gone away. I don't hear any vestiges of skip land. That doesn't mean that things aren't still open. It just means you might need more than 100 milliwatts to make it through. OTR is listening, and we're looking for radio number 8. And if I didn't say so, hello to John, the mighty Juliet Whiskey, listening in from Iowa at the video side. Who else is also out there? I see Central California, Inglewood, California, Northern California, Sacramento. We probably could have heard you, Sacramento, tonight, just at the gray line. We were hearing Southern California. I don't know. Sometimes when we get the ducting like that, it's specific. It's like 6 meters. It's a little cloud, if you will, specific to an area, but that's about the same distance from Sacramento, from here from Fresno, Sacramento to L.A. San Francisco, likewise. I was hearing on Channel 6, guys over on the coast of California. I might have even heard Motor Mouth Mall on Channel 6 when the skip started coming in. I think he's over in Monterey area. Washington, Virginia, South Carolina, still listening in. Hello to our faithful listener up there near Hagerstown, Maryland. Hello to you and a host of others on the Old Tube Radio Network, where we listen for and talk about those tube radios, and we're looking for radio number 8.
45.
And I think we might have Radio 8, if indeed it can pick up the likes of this weak station here in Midtown Fresno. Hello, Paul. Over.
Yeah, it's got a little quiet there, so I thought I'd check it in. I think Harvey's going to be on a little bit later, so something to look forward to. Anyway, I want to check this, my generator telephone, MC5.
Good choice. We had the Super MC11A earlier. So one of their most popular general radio telephones, the MC5, that I believe came out in late 1962. Looking to see if I've got, there it is. Boy, the page is a little bit slow. There's the full page ad over there. We will eventually I'll switch over to an MC5 that's from your collection. I don't know if it's actually the one you were running, but over to you for transmission on our radio number 8.
Yeah, this is one of their best-selling radios they had, I'm sure. I'd say it was a real sweet radio. You can see by the picture of the thing, it's got that checkerboard microphone thing, real heavy, nice little microphone. It's all stock microphone thing. Back then, it's been a few years on the thing, it's 1962. I've got a microphone I can try on the thing, one of the newer ones, and see how it compares to the old stock ceramic microphone. Other than that, this thing's got the pressure crystal plug in the front, and it's got the great old tone signal, which I'll leave it on right now while I'm talking, and I'll take it off. Okay, I got it on, and it should be doing its thing. So if you see me, take this thing off. Okay, I hope it works. Anyway, back to you.
It works great. I expanded the shot. We can see the waffle microphonium there, which is what you're using. Good crisp audio. The tone signal, which is the switch just under the S meter, you flip that on. I don't know if it locks in or if you have to physically hold it down with your finger, but it's got fully modulated oscillator there, 100%. Sort of, it fights with your audio. I can hear you both, but it sounds good. I'm going to go to the full page ad. Let's see if that'll allow me to... Yeah, okay. And they're showing the world's most advanced 11-meter two-way radio, 3.25 watts minimum output, high-level modulation transformer for unparalleled talk power, new Zener diode shunt noise clamp and series gate limiter circuit for highest noise limiting ever achieved. That's some big words here from General Radio Telephone in 1962. New ultra-low drift oscillators for unsurpassed stability, new high-level tone signal, illuminated S-meter, 6-volt, 12-volt, and 115-volt operation, 15-watt construction. Net price, including microphone and crystal, because this is not a 23... It's 23-channel receive, but not a 23-channel transmit. $199.95, and there was the multifunction bridge, which is an accessory to go to that. General Radio Telephone Department, looks like P8, 3501 Burbank Boulevard. Next time I'm down in Southern California, I'm going to go by 3501 Burbank Boulevard and see what is there. Over to you for a transmission.
Yeah, okay. I put it on this other microphone. This other microphone is a Turner Plus 3, fairly recent. Of course, they don't make them anymore, but I say recent. So I want to see how the sound goes compared to the old stock mic and then this fancy Plus 3 microphone amplified.
It sounds good. It's a little bit mellower. Volume-wise, I think the other one's a little louder, mainly because it's got some higher frequency peaks, but I think this is amplified, so you might be able to, if you want to get more audio, which you don't need, you could turn it up, but nice and mellow. This one smooths things out a bit.
Well, that's what I'm interested in. You know, the mellower there, I like them. I could crank this thing up. It's only running about half. Crank it up, and you can't overmodulate these Plus 3s, but you could sure make a lot of noise. So I like it where it's mellow. But it's bumping about 100%, I believe. That's about it. Does that look like on your meters too?
Yeah, I think so. We know what I'll do is I'll put the S meter up. Could take another transmission. We'll see how much forward movement you've got.
Yeah, okay. I can watch it over here too, but I got to turn away from the thing. When you get it up, I don't see it up yet. I'm looking for it. Maybe you got it recorded. Anyway, can you get it?
Yeah, it's actually good. The radio's tuned nicely, not overdone on the carrier. We get 2 bars from just under S8 to just over S8. So what is that, 6 dB happening? Good audio, mellow. The way you've got it set, you could move closer to the microphone. You want to get louder, or just keep it where you got it. Sounds and looks good. Over.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm looking forward to the archive very much. Thanks, Dennis. And that'll be the last one tonight, I believe, but I'll be listening.
All right, archives are up. I've got the video streaming working pretty much the way I wanted, except for some audio issues that's keeping us from hearing the jingle singers tonight. But on the video portion, I'm testing out some new camera angles and things like that. So it makes for a good video presentation. And of course, the audio is your audio directly out of the receiver onto the MP3 archive. So what you hear is exactly the way I hear it, and it should work good for your replay and giving yourself a radio check on Radio 8, the General Radio Telephone MC5 from beautiful downtown Burbank, and Paul up in North Fork. Their most advertised General Radio Telephone, the MC5, was much like the MC4, but had a stronger transmitter And it was, as Paul mentioned, the last general radio telephone with the tone signal, because the FCC said, nope, you can't do that anymore, and it was replaced with the bullhorn. So if you've got a general radio telephone with the bullhorn, you don't have the 5. You've got the MC6, and I'm not sure what the MC7 had. Thanks for bringing it by. And the Old Tube Radio Network, listening for Radio 9 and standing by. Standing by to take the check-in for SWL24. Hello, Joseph, over at oldtuberadio.net. Waving a hand, and I will get you checked in. Thanks for listening into the Old Tube Radio Network.
Number 7.
Hello, Mr. Ed. Let me get back to the right paperwork here, and I will say, go ahead, over.
This time, bringing the Tram TR27 Echo, 23 channels, transmit and receive.
Oh yes, the TR27E. I was featuring that earlier because it's a good picture, and it also has a full-page ad that I was testing some links with. So let's go to that. There's the full-page ad over in the corner, touting the TR27E from CB Horizons magazine, October of 1963, and some other things. We'll go back to that ad, but let's go back to the radio as you take a transmission. We'll talk about that.
There you go. Well, I located a microphone that was more like this one was actually originally came with, but this one now has the Electro Voice 638 on there. Big green radio, 5x7 speaker, a large S meter. Even blind guys like me can see it without glasses.
It has one of those S meters that's more like, let me go to the close-up. You can almost see it goes to, let's see, 9, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 over. This is the type of S meter you would see on the large Hallicrafters SX 99 101 series. So pretty cool. It's almost like its own video display. When people come in, you can just kind of stare at that S meter.
Yeah, instead of going into the red, you, of course, go into the green on that one. Well, it looks like it's kind of green, but it's not really green. It's actually teal, so there's also arguments exactly what color it is. But it's large, and it works fairly well.
That's with the throw on that very thin, looks like fragile meter needle. That's one of those radios where when you say you broke the needle, you came in so strong, probably would happen. Well, we are on the close-up. Let's talk about, there's the two knobs. There's the REC tune, that's your receive tune, and then down in the little tiny window it says XMIT, your transmit channel. So this is all 23 channels, right, on the transmitter?
That is correct. It has all 23. Now, this model is exactly the same as previous ones that did not have all 23 channels, but on the top of the radio itself, there's a small panel on the right front. There's two little screws. You take that off, and there's your complement of crystals, so you can do your changing and putting in whatever you want to.
Okay, making it easy. Also, we'll just talk about the items here. There is an external receive with the big crystal socket. I'm not sure how you get that to function. Now, there is a switch next to, on the left side of the transmitter channel control, and I see it's got a arrow that points to the X. So I'm thinking maybe that switch would change your receive tune over to the crystal side.
That would be correct.
All right. Getting the hang of this radio. The spot switch, of course, helps you find your transmit frequency on the tuner. And then we'll go over, because this is a picture of your radio. There's the red bat handle switch that I don't think is standard issue. And you told me you said you're not even sure what that does, I think.
No, I know what it does. If you put this radio on channel 1 and flip that little switch, you go down below channel 1.
Down below channel 1. Well, I guess that's AM territory when the band starts opening up. Not sure if it's, if it just multiplies your crystal somewhere and you have to figure out where you are. Now, the other issue is, does it take the receive down there as well? Did you have a matching way to do something? I don't know. But in the meantime, as long as it's on channel 11, that's what we like. The modulation light, can you get that to blink with the Alexa voice microphone?
Oh, yes. It definitely does flash on the voice peaks, letting me know the radio is working.
And it's working well. The Tram TR27E, our 9th radio of the evening. Big stuff from, 1963, I think. You know what I said? We were going to try and take a look. Let's see if I can do that before we go. The full page ad. There we go. That's under what? Under full screen. Let me go to that one and see if it will allow me to scroll down. All right, great. 70% or better transmitter efficiency, provides 3.5 watts guaranteed minimum RF output with 100% high-level modulation, keyed compression base station. I love these words. I love all these adjectives. Sensitivity, it gives you receiver sensitivity. It says, Tram, I'll see if I can read this. Tram Electronics will include in its ad each month a section on technical notes to provide interesting comments on specific Tram circuitry. So if we could go through these CB Horizons magazines or wherever they were at, you could get the Tram service tips, cut them out. We're looking at Tram service tip number 1, so maybe this is their first ad. When tuning the 31.5 megacycle first conversion receive oscillator coil L2 tune for maximum DC voltage at pin 7. And on it goes. Tram, P.O. Box 187, Winnisquam, New Hampshire, 03289. And you can please send return mail, no obligation, for information. I wonder if anybody would send something to P.O. Box 187, see what would happen. What's the Elvis song, Return to Sender? And as you can see, they also tout some other features. The receiver overload characteristics is improved by 20 dB. Good stuff here on the Tram. Let me stop talking, and if you're still at the microphone, you can give us one more transmission on Radio 9. The best of the best, I think, for 1963, for Tram anyway.
There you go, the big green machine, and I kind of like this radio. It's one of my favorites, next to the Brownings, of course. But other than that, wonderful radio, beautiful speaker, big-ass meter. Man, you just couldn't ask for much more, other than maybe sideband. Anyway, with that, we'll let you run with OTR.
And they heard you. 1963, there were no sideband. I take that back. The sideband radio was from General Radio Telephone. Nobody was on. You had to have another General Radio Telephone sideband. A lot of the amateur radios that might have gone to 11 meters were taking AM out. They were just sideband. So I don't know if the Kenwoods would do that. But for a Class D 11-meter radio, you have to wait a couple, 3 years for a Tram to come out with the Tram Titan 2 and double sideband. Then you could talk to the Regency Imperials are out there and all that good stuff. Again, I definitely miss the Jingle Singers. I hope we can figure out this audio issue right now. And they said they would like to come back and annoy all of you. More so than me. OTR standing by. We're looking for radio number 10.
You know, if you want Jingle Singers, I could probably arrange that.
That's right. I think you have the T1 line directly into Studio B. Now, Ed could probably arrange this. It's going to sound like they're probably coming in through the telephone, which indeed they are. But I will warn them. I will warn them that they may have to perform tonight. And what they're going to do is gather around. We've got a dial, an old Princess dial telephone. So let's see. I'll give them your phone number. And so when you guys make contact, just let me know, and you can key up, and we will. Doggone it, we will have our jingle singers tonight. OTR is listening for Radio 10.
And with clear air, how about the jingle singers?
All right, here we go. Live and direct through the Princess telephone over in the other studio to SWL 7. They never sounded so good with a 25 dB over S9 signal here into net control. Thank you, jingle singers, and thank you, Mr. Ed.
No problem.
Feel like Marconi in that first transcontinental radio broadcast. I bet it sounded something like that. Still have our digital listeners tuning in. Squamish, British Columbia. I was looking to see if sometimes we can get weather or something from where you're at. Englewood, Colorado, where it's 75 degrees. Really? I would think it would be a lot cooler than that at 10:43 p.m. An hour difference there in Englewood. How about Greenwood, South Carolina? Can we get some partly cloudy at 12:47 a.m. It's 67 degrees. Station at or near Greenwood, South Carolina. Let's see what's happening in Somerville, South Carolina, where it is partly cloudy and 76 degrees. Also listening in San Francisco, or a San Francisco station, where it is clear and 67 degrees. It must be summer. Let's try Centerville, there in Virginia, where it's partly cloudy and 73 degrees. In Hagerstown, Maryland, or somewhere near it, our listener, where it's mostly cloudy and 67 degrees. And let's go way out to New York, where it is early Sunday morning and cloudy and 60 degrees. Angola is a village in the town of Evans in Erie County, New York, United States, located 2 miles east of Lake Erie. Probably some good propagation bouncing your signal off of Lake Erie. OTR is standing by, and we are listening for radio number 10. You know, the other thing I'm not able to get into the video mix is the Orban. I guess I could, but it'd be kind of be hard to do. The Orban loudness meter. I'm not sure if that's something that'll work on this configuration or not, but the main thing is to get the jingle Singer's back in line. OTR standing by. I would imagine the Bulldog game has ended by now, and well, you can sure hear how quiet the frequency has become now that the atmosphere has settled down a little bit. And 69 and clear in Greenwood, South Carolina. Thank you there, Cole Cannon. I must have missed that on the OTR weather report. Here's something from the August 1968 S9 magazine. They filed all the FCC actions. This magazine has many, many pages. That's how many operators, and you could put out a magazine like that in 1968, back in the middle of when the time all the radios that were checking in were brand new. These operators were asked to show cause why their licenses should not be revoked. Back in the day when those $50, $100, $200 fines, you would have to write a letter saying, why shouldn't we fine you if you were doing some of these things you're not supposed to do? It's one out of Pasadena, California, New York, Orange, California, for over-height antenna and making a false statement of the FCC. That's the other thing. You got to fess up saying, oops, Guess what? I measured my antenna and it was too high. I'm taking it down. I'm making it the legal 20-foot limit. And maybe they'll be nice to you. These operators had their licenses revoked. Robert in Elmhurst, Illinois. These operators received $200 fines for overpower and skip shooting. That was pretty decent, hefty fine for 1968. Here's wrong channel ID. What's a wrong channel ID? I could see a wrong ID. Get a fine for that. Hobby. Okay, ID. Hobby communications. Another wrong channel. Transmission of music for entertainment. That's a fine. Another wrong channel. What is a wrong channel fine? Lots of wrong channel stuff. Oh, maybe out of band? Wrong channel, like transmitting on a cap frequency? I don't know. FCC was busy. Back when they had field officers and all sorts of people driving around in those little vans, pestering you in 1968 for $100. Now, they don't even have field offices anymore. The old Tube Radio Network, waxing poetic and looking for radio number 10. And good evening, Captain Keyboard. Hope you are recuperating and feeling well. And you will never get a wrong channel FCC fine if you're on 27085. That's the Saturday night place to be, the old Tube Radio Network. All right, let me try it here. We've got some cartoons from the magazine. You know what? There's a high gain. I'm not going to be able to. I don't think we're going to be able to read it here. No, it's a little too fuzzy. What's that one? The guy's sitting there. I'll leave it up. Maybe if you've got a good screen, you'll be able to see what we're showing. The two guys that are walking down the street there with the radio hurling toward them. And they're saying, that couple we just passed, I introduced them via CB radio. And there's the radio flying back out to them. Here's another one about marriage. Up in the top left corner there, the officer and the couple in their just married convertible there with the CB radio whip. And it says, okay, itsy bitsy, fly as fast as you can. I've got a surprise for you, too. You forgot to turn your CB transmitter off. What's the Martian thing? See the Martian at the door? The wife is opening the front door, and it's evening time with the full moon, and there's a KKX 001 Cyclops alien with an antenna hat. And the wife is talking to her husband in the radio room where he says, remember that skip station that you called last month? And this is the L2 Radio Network. And Richard, thank you. Many of the channels were specifically set aside for boating, calling, emergency, and travel information. I remember 11 might have been a calling frequency. And they used to say, even though channel 12 and 13, this is down in Southern California, so this had been 6970. There's a lot of bootlegging going on. A lot of people not using their call letters, especially when they knew the FCC wasn't in town. But channel 12 and 13 were really set aside for stations using their call letters. If you came on with your handle, with your bootlegged handle on channel 12 and 13, the station's monitoring would run you off. They would say, you need to have a call sign to make a transmission. Although I think you needed a call sign to make a transmission anywhere at that time, but that could be the wrong frequency. And I'm sure there's some FCC rule book or something that would state what channels were what. I'm also thinking there was, radios that had Civil Air Patrol in them, and people would switch to that as an alternate frequency because it might have been quieter. Lots of rules. I mean, once you get 4 million people on the air, it's really hard to enforce those rules, even when you're going to ding them $50 for not doing them. Looking for Radio 10, the L2 Radio Network.
Well, I'd love to wait for 11, but I'm too tired. Number 20.
All right, this is the too tired frequency. I noticed it's at the 10 o'clock hour. I wanted to extend this out to make sure we got everybody in, especially yourself. How are you feeling tonight? You sound pretty good, but that doesn't mean that you are feeling good, but I bet you are.
I feel a lot better than I did last week, let me tell you. I just have to pace myself. I still have upcoming surgery, but they can't do it yet because I had surgery for something else at the end of May. So they have to postpone this one for a little while. So there you go. So I just deal with it for right now. But anyway, if I watch myself, pace myself, I'm okay. Anyway, thank you for asking there, sir. The Browning Golden Beagle R68T68 by Browning Laboratories. And the custom D104 with the Browning medallion on the back of the head of the D104. Which, by the way, some guy is selling decals that are real close to the medallion. The only reason was I got pissed off that his labels weren't really close enough, so I sent him some pictures of my medallion, and he had stickers made that he said are as close as he could get to it. So you can find him if you look up Browning stuff on eBay, and he sells the stickers. They're not the same as the medallion, but they're close. So there you go. Anyway, it's my Golden Eagle with the on-air light and the 3-position RF gain switch on the receiver. They did make the transmitter with the spotlight, and the actual RF gain variable control on the receiver. They did make that model. But for some reason, this is the most common one. Okay, I'll let you go. I got to get back in. I got to work tomorrow and the next day, so got to get my beauty sleep. And definitely a lot of beauty sleep. Back to you.
All right, well, don't want to keep you from your beauty sleep. Sounds like someone's having a party in the background. Great audio on the Browning Golden Eagle R68T68, the original first of the Golden Eagles, the Mark One, Mark None, I'm not sure how to say it. You mentioned that you did have the on-the-air light rather than the spotlight, which means you've got the Series 2 and some type of variable RF gain or whatever. It sounds good. That radio is always tweaked and peaked to demonstrate what Browning had to offer in 1967 and 68 for our shortwave listeners. And it sounds good at 10 o'clock, our Radio 10. So we made at 10 double digits thanks to 20, which is twice 10. I think you said, you did say I want to probably proxying you in next week over.
Oh, yeah. I should be able to work next week. I'm working tomorrow, so as long as everything goes smooth, I'll be working next week. If you hear me on the radio, that means I'm not feeling too good. So hopefully you won't hear me on the radio. We'll catch you in a couple weeks.
All right, we will be here in a couple weeks. Actually, I have a fundraising thing at the radio station coming in October on a Saturday, so I may have to figure out a substitute thing going on in October. These things happen, but I should be around for those weeks. Thanks for jumping into the radio room, and hopefully next week when you are out and about, you will get a break or two, and you'll be able to tune us in, listen in at oldtuberadio.net on your Universal Media Net web device at 10:05, where we started off this evening with some excitement and skip from the south and the north and all over the place to right now where it's very quiet, but the local stations are coming in. If you'd like to check in or have a radio, bring it by. I'll be counting and amounting, and we will sign off here in just a little bit. But OTR is standing by. And it's Marty Jones in the early Sunday morning, waving a hand, saying hi all. All meaning any and all shortwave listeners, tube radio operators, and whoever might be frequenting the frequency of the old tube radio network here at 27085. As we count and amount and wind things down here on the old tube radio network. Last call for check-ins, radios, SWLs, the old tube radio network. And I'm really hoping to figure out my audio issue. And when I do, I know sort of what it is. I hope that it's something fixable so we can get the workaround to get our jingle singers back. Because it's nice to hear them over the phone, but we've got those expensive microphones. And Bob and Steve go to great lengths to to keep them happy over in the other studio, so we'd like to take advantage of that and put them on the air once in a while. All right, let's, as one of the guys on 75 meters used to say, would drive the net controller, they're nuts. Let's tie the ribbons, whatever that means. Tie the ribbons on this thing. The old Tube Radio Network. We had 7 check-ins on page 1. Is that right? Doesn't seem like enough. 11 on page 2, 10 on page 3, and 15 on page 4 for a total of 43. I think I counted wrong. That seems kind of low. Radios tonight, we had 10 with the Browning Laboratories being the most heard manufacturer tonight. Read off the list here. Find out what we did do. Starting off with one of the very early Browning combinations, the R2700 receiver from 1959 probably, paired with a 23S9 from early 60s, 1960 or so. Sounded good. Thanks, Paul, for bringing by our oldest old tube radio tonight. The Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB was radio number 2 from Mr. Ed. That was followed by the General Radio Telephone. I didn't even write the number on that. It was a Super MC11A for radio number 3 from Chris. Radio 4 was Mr. Ed on our first Browning Golden Eagle R68 T68 of the evening. Then Radio 5, Paul on the Regency Imperial Double Sideband AM. Paul, you're making me want to figure out that Regency issue. It hasn't been fired up for a long time. I'm sure I'm going to have to probably go in and redo all the electrolytics, capacitors, and that thing. That would be a nice S meter. I could get rid of this kind of yucky digital one here and put on a real S meter. That would be a great S meter to have on the window. After the Regency, we had the Gem Marine Products G Power Mate, Radio 6 from Chris. That was followed by Ed on his E.F. Johnson Messenger 223. That would be another good S meter to have, but I don't have a 223. We've got the Whiteface, doesn't have an S meter. The General Radio Telephone MC5, I don't think it had an S meter either. That was Paul SWL45, Radio 8, Radio 9, the Tram TR27E, the ultimate S meter. I would have to have a wide screen to get that one on. And stay out of the way, all right? Stay out of the way when it's swinging at 60 over. And then Radio 10, you just heard the Browning Golden Eagle R68 T68 from Tram in 1963. Good night to all those who take the time to tune us in at oldtuberadio.net and elsewhere on the video. This is the new server. It seems like everything is good. The video looks good, and I'm getting the hang of putting things on. I just wish I could get some audio running, but it's actually solved some of the issues that I was having. So hopefully it'll be a good display if anybody's watching that is not familiar, if you're watching this in the future, or is it in the past, and you're new to CB, or you're curious about the old tube radios. Hopefully our video tonight, video addition to the audio, has helped you get a feel for these great radios and why a lot of people collect them and enjoy them. They're just cool. They're cool to sit in front of, even if they're not working, and they're really nice to operate as well. You can see 60s and 70s styling. The things today are fancy. It's like a car, right? Like the new cars they work well and they're safe. Everything's at your fingertips, but you can jump into that old 1963 Pontiac and have a good time with the protruding metal knobs that could poke your eye out, but it's still a lot of fun. So good night, everybody. 73. I don't think I'm going to do any DXing tonight, but the band is open. There's some things happening in the atmosphere, so check your radios, check your various bands that you like to frequent, and you may be surprised, as we were early this evening with the skip coming in. Thanks to SearchLawrence.com. I'm off the microphone here. All right. SearchLawrence.com. And Frodex for the Nixie tubes and helping out with all the video stuff. And thanks to you for keeping us on the air for 35 years with your tube radios and your shortwave listening items of interest. The old Tube Radio Network, saying 73 from Fresno, California.
Good night. Good night.
Okay, Dennis. Thanks a bunch. Another great show. And Fresno State a little bit behind. 13-24. In the third quarter, in the late part of the third quarter. We'll stick around and see if they can pull it off. Good night.
All right, thanks for the score update. I would have thought we've been in the fourth quarter, so probably some people tuning in the Fresno State game. Is this their first game? Is it the first game of the season?
Yeah, this is their first game, and that's why I was so anxious to see it. A guy told me today as I walked into the store if I was going to see the Fresno State game, and I said I didn't even know it was already that time of the year. Yeah, this is the first game.
All right, go Bulldogs. I'm a former Bulldog myself, although I probably can't throw a football more than 3 feet. So catch y'all later.
Okay, Dennis. Good night.
All right, let's go through this again, where we try and figure out how to turn off the video stream. Oh, that's interesting. That could have been my extra audio. Well, no, there's extra audio before that. That's extra audio. There's too many audio streams. All right, so talk to you later. Thanks for listening here on the Old Tube Radio Network, shutting down the video stream.